name's Jake Clareline. I am one of the Solve team members. I'm here with my colleague.
I'm Jen Consalvi.
And our goal is to make an interesting and useful video for you all in order to be able to kickstart your use of the digital teaching assistant, AI Graded Plus. Jen.
And I will say, this is one of the tools that I'm most excited about because my background is I was a teacher for over a decade, and if I had a tool like this, it would have changed things a lot and made my life a lot simpler.
I'm going to echo that point. I have 30 years in education. These white hairs here on my chin, they're real. So I spent many hours writing feedback on my students' work to the point that my colleagues and I used to joke, we teach for free, we get paid to grade. So having this digital teaching assistant in my arsenal to be able to help support my work, I would have absolutely been a game changer. And I hate that term. I don't even like to call things a game changer, but I'm really convinced this thing is.
We're excited to show you how it works and how hopefully it can change your teaching practice and allow you to have more time to plan your instruction.
Okay, so the question that might be on your mind is, what the heck are these two talking about, right? They're calling this thing the digital teaching assistant. So what is it?
So here's what I'm thinking of. I'm actually thinking first about my experience in the classroom. I taught elementary school, and so I had 36 students and a ton of...
36?
I had 36.
Wow. That should be illegal.
It was a lot of navigating throughout that tiny classroom. But I had 36 students and a lot of paperwork, a lot to grade so that I could provide feedback for my students. The feedback was a killer for me because I didn't have enough time to do everything else. Sending the emails that I needed to communicate with parents. I needed to plan my instruction for the whole class. I needed to plan small group instruction. You know everything that I'm talking about. So I did not have enough minutes in the day, especially when I think 36 students takes a minute to grade, maybe each assignment.
You're a very fast grader. Only 1 minute. All right, everybody, imagine you're a class. Imagine collecting a group of papers. Think about how much time you're going to invest. Go, think. All right, you thought we won't do the whole Jeopardy theme song, but out loud, right now, with your colleague next to you, tell them how long that is.
Time frame, whatever. I know it depends on the assignment. So you have that number, right? And then you're multiplying that by however many assignments, that's gonna add up. So we would like to give you that time back in your life so that you can use it for, I don't know, think about what would you use it for? What would you use it for?
I would use it, that extra time, to really be able to think about what my students have shown me about their learning with this work. One of the principals I was talking with over the summer said, Jake, this is going to give my teachers a chance to slow down and really be reflective so they can carefully plan what the next steps in their instruction should be for their specific students based on this formative information that this tool is going to help them have access to.
Okay, so it's supposed to save us time.
Yes.
How does it do that?
The way this thing is going to save you time is it is going to scan all of your kids' written work, right? It's going to read their name. It's going to read what they have written about the question you gave them. So if it's a writing prompt, it's going to read the prompt. It's going to read the question. Then it's going to give the students a score based on a rubric. And the very exciting thing that obviously Jen and I have been talking about is it's going to generate feedback for them that you will have the opportunity to read and edit beforehand. So this is very much not taking you out of the mix. This is your digital teaching assistant.
So you probably have a lot of questions. I can virtually see the wheels turning in your head. we'll hopefully answer all of those questions in this video.
So you might be wondering, how does this tool that Jen and I are trying to tell you about actually do what it does? Full disclosure, we're going to show you a demo in just a second. But first off, you need to know to access this digital teaching assistant, you need to grab your mobile phone, you need to open your school app. That's the app that the Solve team built for you guys. It's got your school name on it. It's got all the key information about your school and all your social media and push messages. And then Jen, where will they go?
So I brought our own app up right now. So once I open the school app, then I'm seeing the home feed right away. And then I'm going to tap on AI Graded Plus. And we've been calling it the digital teaching assistant, but on the screen you're gonna see AI Graded Plus, and then you tap there.
You're gonna land in Graded Plus. That's the digital teaching assistant. You're gonna do a couple of little setup things. So you get to tag these items with a standard. We'll show you how to do all that. Then you're simply gonna scan each kid's piece of work.
Okay, so when you say scan,
Yes.
like I think of going to a coffee machine. What does that mean?
Very good, good point. So I'm saying scan because you're not taking a picture. You are using the camera that's built into your phone, but this tool lets it act like a scanner. So basically, all the images of your kids' work go into the cloud. Nothing gets saved on your phone.
Which, thank goodness.
Yes.
Because that would drive me crazy, so I'm really glad that nothing is actually stored physically on my phone. That makes it super easy.
Now that's important. I'm glad we made that clear for everybody. Then, once you've done the scanning, you'll get the feedback so you can see it, and then it's gonna go to a set of different places. Tell them a couple of them.
So one of the places that it's going to go to is it's going to sync to your Google Classroom. It is also going to sync to a slide deck, so you'll have access to a slide deck where you can see all of your students with the feedback there.
It's one of my favorite parts. It also is going to create a Google Sheet for you so you have everything organized. Very helpfully, it's going to all populate the kids' information and their work into your dashboard. So you have the overarching view where you can sort and filter and look across classes and see the progression of kids' work on standards. And it's also super helpful that this is going to go into Student Plus. So that's one of those tiles in the staff section that I said was the teacher tools. Student Plus basically makes progress reports obsolete. It's going to let students and their families have access to not just their kids' work and the feedback, but also assessment scores. I realize I'm going down a side alley right now, so let me
get really excited.
Yeah, let's bring this one back to Graded Plus, your digital teaching assistant. All right. I'm hoping you've got some interest at this point. You have some comments maybe you want to share with your colleagues. You probably are saying, all right, Jake, okay, Jen, enough. Show me how it works. Okay, we'll show.
We're gonna do that.
Here's what happens. All right, everybody. So we promised to do a demo for you. This is all the steps you need to take to get your assignment set up. Tag it with a standard, and then put your digital teaching assistant to work. Start by opening your app. I'm gonna open our demo app. Tap Login. Go to the staff section. It's gonna ask you to sign in. So sign in with your @schools login. You'll say continue. You'll scroll down. You'll say allow. You'll give it the one step away tap, and then it's going to bring you into Graded Plus. You will only do this the first time you log in. For each subsequent assignment, you will tap Graded Plus and you'll land right here on this screen. Okay, so we're going to set up to scan an assignment. We've talked about this tool is for formative assignments. So I'm going to tap constructed response. We're going to do the next couple of clicks to be able to tag this to a standard. So first, pick the grade level, then the content area. Now, you can pick the domain.
or you can simply search for the standard. If I tap pick the domain, I can scroll through, I can pick the standard I want. I can also say, show me EE standards. Oh, here we have all of them. I have EE4. Here it is. So now my assignment is tagged with a standard. I'm going to pick the rubric and the number of points for the assignment. These rubrics are the state assessment constructed response rubrics. I'm going to do a 2-point one. You can see here it says type the title. So I'm going to give this a quick title. This is the AI graded plus PD. So I'm going to say, yep, we're using that one. Now I'm going to pick my Google Classroom. I'm going to do my little countdown to get everybody's attention to make sure you know this is important. You ready? 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, thank you for humoring me. Definitely pick the Google Classroom that the kids are in so that the tool will send their work to the Google Classroom. By the way, it's also how the tool reads the kids' handwritten names to associate their work with them. All right, so all this to say, picking the Google Classroom, very important. Next, I'm gonna let the tool do some mathematics. So you can see the prompt says, all right, time to do some math, scan the problem. I'm gonna tap scan assignment. Now you can see my camera has become active. I have the assignment at the top of this student's work. I can tap the white circle right now. If you're a little wary and you just want to capture the work, you can always just put a piece of paper over it and then tap. Now, our tool is going to do some work for us. It is doing the problem. It is going to determine the solution. It's going to ask you if you agree with the solution. So you'll be able to say yes or no. If you say no, you'll be able to enter the solution you think it is. The important thing to note here is the tool is now not going to look for that exact same solution path in the kids' work. It's going to scan and assess each student's work independently. I am going to suggest everybody regularly tap this green sentence that says, show full solution with explanation. I want you guys to be in the habit of doing that because I think A, it's good for thinking more deeply about whatever the task is. It's also completely useful to show this to students at points during later instruction. Okay, so I agree with this one. I'm happy with x equals 6, y equals 4. So I'm going to say yes. And now I'm ready to scan everybody's work. So I'm simply going to tap scan student work. And we're off and running. $33 in less than however long that took us. All right, so now we want to see what happens, right? I'm going to say done. I have all of my images. I'm going to submit them to my tool. This is when the magic happens. So basically, each scanned image is being sent to our AI that's working behind the scenes. It is going to read each example. It's going to score it based on a rubric, and then it's going to provide the feedback as we discussed. Now you can see all of them have been submitted. It is not an instantaneous grading process. So you can see at the very bottom where it says, we'll notify you when they're ready. Right here. You're going to get an email and you're going to get a push notification to your app. Okay, the grading has completed. I have gotten an email and a push notification. I'm going to show us how to access this information. I'm going to again come to Graded Plus. You'll have a link in your email. If you access it directly from the push notification, there will be a link there as well that will walk you right to it. But for the sake of our PD video, I want to show you how to get to it natively. So you'll notice at the top of my screen, I have some tabs. I'm going to pick results. Okay, full disclosure. I have scanned a lot of assignments. I could scroll through all these and find them, and I can go back to the one that I scanned previously. Also, I can use this filter button. I know the standard that my assignment was, so I can say, let's find all the assignments I scanned with this filter. I'm going to click apply. And there's my demo. So I'm going to tap this. Here is all of the work that I scanned. We can see work that our students have submitted. When I tap, I can edit, and then I can quickly provide any feedback that I need to be able to add. I can also change the grade, and I hit update. This last step, I want to make sure everybody sees. At the very bottom in the right-hand corner, there is an orange circle with a very famous looking G in it. Tap that G. Now, this is sending the information into Google Classroom. It's building the Google slide deck that Jen and I mentioned earlier, and it's creating a Google Sheet. So you might be wondering, how do I get access to all of that? Well, it's as simple as go to your email. I'm gonna walk right into my email. And at the very top, you see 2 emails from the Solve team. This first one is telling me that my feedback has all been generated by AI Graded Plus. The top one is direct links to each of the pieces of connectivity that I just described. So if I tap this link for Google Classroom, I walk straight into my Google Classroom. I can tap student work, and here I have the work for my celebrity students. These are the kids that are in my Google Classroom. And lo and behold, there is the work that we have associated with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. So when I come back to my email, now I have the slide deck. This lives in your Google Drive, so you can access this straight from your Google Drive. You also have an individual slide for every student's work, and you have all of the feedback. This is going to appear in Student Plus in your app, so families and students will be able to see this. This slide deck is very valuable whenever it comes time to have conversations with your colleagues about student work. And another piece that we think is super valuable is sharing feedback on written work with students. This is a conversation for another future time when we're talking about analyzing students' work and what steps to take. Here, we're really just trying to introduce this tool. I realize the examples that we have shown have been with math tasks. I want to make sure ELA folks see how this tool will also support your efforts to give students feedback and score their written work. The setup is very much the same. We're going to say constructed response. We're going to pick a grade level. I'm going to pick the content area and say ELA this time. I'm going to pick a domain and a standard. I'm going to pick the rubric. I'm going to give the assignment a name, right? So all very much aligned with the way the math task is set up in order to be scanned. you know I'm going to harp on this. Be sure to pick the Google Classroom your students are in so that their work and feedback will get sent to their Google Classroom. This also is going to let me say, I want to use a new passage that my students have read, or I just want to use one that I've already scanned. I'm going to say do a new passage. Now, our tool will read the passage that kids had read. So I'm going to say scan passage excerpt. Should say I'm going to tap that. And now I'm hovering my phone. I'm going to tap the white circle. This passage is more than one page. So I'm going to move to the next page. I'm going to tap the white circle again. I'm sure you can guess that when I'm done scanning the passage, here's the third page, that I will tap the green check in the bottom right-hand corner. That is going to send the passage to the tool. It is reading it, and now it wants to know the question that the kids were asked. So I'm going to say scan assignment. The question is at the top of their work. I can do the same trick I did with the math task if you would like. In order to see just the question, tap it, and then the tool will read the question. Now it is ready to have the kids' work scanned. If I have 2 pages for this student, I can tap again. When I'm ready to go to the next one, I'm going to tap next student. I'm going to scan this student's work. Notice I am now to a next student. Next student. Scan. If this student had another page, I would tap the white circle again, and we just continue on. When you're done, tap the green check. Say I'm done scanning. And we're to the place where our tool will read and provide feedback for all the kids' work.
Okay, so you've seen a demonstration of scanning 30 students' work for mathematics. We showed you a demonstration of using AI Graded Plus, your digital teaching assistant, to scan some students' work to show their prowess reading and writing responses. Now, you might be wondering, okay, when do I actually use this thing? When should I not? Jen, when would you use this?
So I'm envisioning myself in my classroom. I would be using this for an exit ticket. That could be math, it could be reading, it could be a really quick response to a math problem, or it could be a response to a passage where a student wrote a paragraph. Another way that I could envision using this is if there is even a longer essay, respond to a prompt, and it's multiple paragraphs, even multiple pages, right?
Yep. The math educator in me loves kids to have opportunities to truly solve problems, not just do exercises, but actually engage in problem solving. I think that this digital teaching assistant is fantastic to capture their written work about their efforts to solve that problem. I think this tool also is really helpful when it comes time to do a check for understanding. If I'm doing some direct instruction and I want my students to write a quick response to something that I think is a key element of what we've just been trying to learn some things about, I might write a prompt on the board and ask them to just write a sentence or two about what they think when they see that prompt. As you've seen, I can use Graded Plus, gather an image of that prompt, and then I can scan all the students' work so that I have all that in my repository. I have all the feedback I need, and then I can make it all accessible to them.
Yeah. But in general, this is for a lot of your formative assessments. Your ongoing
I think that's the
instruction.
key word. Yes. So think about formative assessment, think about Graded Plus. If you think summative assessment, this is not the tool for that. This is not a tool to grade a 20-item end of module assessment.
Yeah, think about those smaller assignments, the checks for understanding. I've got one question, I want to see what a student responded. I want to give that student specific actionable feedback.
So what are some other questions we expect people to ask? Well, Jen, what if I don't like the feedback?
Oh, that's understandable. You know your students, right? You may have even more specific feedback that you want to give to your students. You may disagree with what the AI says. That's totally fine. You can actually go into it, tap, edit, type, and then it's saved. So that's easy. That's an easy fix.
We encourage you to customize that. You know your students better than basically anybody else, much less a computer, right? So if there's something that you know adding a little phrase or a sentence is gonna pique your students' interest, definitely do it. You can even talk to the AI Graded Plus. I'll show you how to do that.
We absolutely encourage that you review the feedback and the scores that the tool has awarded. Tap the icon with the pencil and the pad at the top right of any of the tiles of the kids' work. You'll get this new screen where you will be able to change the points earned. You'll also be able to edit the text. So say, for example, I see you did a good job solving for y in both equations and creating the table of values. However, the correct solution to the system is 6-4, not 7-0. Make sure to double check your calculations when finding the intersection point. The mathematics educator in me does not want to tell my student what the correct answer is. Rather, I want them to try to determine the correct answer. So, I'm going to tap in the box. I'm gonna tap to delete. Now notice, I couldn't see the whole paragraph until I started to type. So your screen is gonna move. Don't get upset when you can't see the whole thing. I'm gonna change this to say, however, the correct solution is not 7-0. Instead of saying make sure to double check, I'm going to take that out and I'm going to say, how would you determine the correct solution? Is there another method besides a table of values that could be helpful? So you can see, you can even talk to this and it will do the work for you. All right, I want to make sure to save this. I am going to give this student 1 point. In order to save this, I'm going to hit the arrow at the very bottom right-hand corner of my screen. That gives me the option to tap this green update button. So I'm going to tap update. I also want to make sure I hit the orange circle with the G at the bottom right-hand corner, because then that is going to save my updates to my Google Sheets, my Google Slides, and push this updated feedback and score into my students' Google Classroom.
All right, so we definitely can change the feedback. What about the score? What if I don't agree with the score that the tool gave my student?
You can change that too. I mean, I could give you a really long answer, but it's really as simple as you literally just go in, you edit the score and tap it, and they're saved, along with the feedback that you want to make more customized.
And it's all going to populate into Student Plus. It's all going to populate into Google Classroom. It's going to update your slide deck, so everything works symbiotically. It goes so nicely together. So because the feedback is so very important, a key question we really want to just address as we kind of wrap this intro session up is, how am I getting my students to see this feedback? right? We've pointed to the fact it's in Student Plus, it's in Google Classroom. If students don't have their phones, if they're not at computers, then they're not going to be able to see this feedback in Student Plus or in Google Classroom. So we've been working with a number of our partners to learn their ideas, and of course we have some too. So one thought is having student conferencing set up around looking at this feedback. So using the information that's either in your view of Student Plus or in your slide deck, you can have conversations with students that allow them to share with you what they think the feedback is telling them about their work.
Yeah, and I'm envisioning this in my own teaching practice. This would be a perfect opportunity to form your small groups that you're working with, and grouping these students all had the same misconception about something. So you're pulling all of those students, and maybe that's your computer time as well. They have their computers, they can actually reference what their feedback was and share their ideas together to say, okay, how am I gonna go back in and revise my work now? How am I gonna get the correct answer?
And this type of practice is related to another idea we're encouraging folks to implement, and that's sharing feedback at the class level. If you need to anonymize the work so that students don't tease each other, sure, anonymize the work. You can simply take that out of the slide. But we are convinced there is value in allowing kids the opportunity to have conversations about what the feedback says about the work that's been completed connected to a given prompt or a given mathematics task. It truly is going to open up opportunities for students to think more deeply about the mathematical concept, about the reading standard that they are striving to learn more about.
And one of the things that was always daunting for me as a teacher was it would take so long to write that feedback, and then it wasn't as timely because it was taking me so long to get those papers back to my students. And so this helps to create that timeliness in your teaching. And so you're able to give that feedback almost immediately with the AI, and then parents are also able to see it. So you're keeping the parents in the loop.
I mean, we just showed an example of it grading 30 pieces of work in less than 5 minutes. I don't think we're accomplishing that as humans. And so we're convinced this tool can make your lives so much better. And we want to hear from you about all the feedback you have in all of these regards. All right, now let's set some goals. We like to wrap PD with our teachers by getting them to think about 3 goals. First,
what are you going to do with this new knowledge, with this app, this tool in your app next week? Think about it. I'm thinking of, if I'm in the classroom, I'm thinking about all the things that I can do with it.
tell your partner, tell somebody near you, what are you gonna do next week? Okay, the second one, what is your goal for this tool this month? Okay, within a month. Doesn't have to be exactly this month, but within the next, say, 4 weeks. Like, what is your goal for using this tool? It should be a little bit grander than your goal for using the tool this week, maybe next week, within the next week.
And also, I will say, just because of when I was making goals with my class, at the time we would often make SMART goals. Some of you might roll your eyes at me, but if you're thinking about those goals that you can make and make it quantifiable, how often are you opening this tool? How often are you using it? How many assignments are you using it for? So just some things that you can think about so that you can really envision yourself using it, so you can get that feedback back to your students in that timely manner.
Oh, now you've got me thinking about sharing the feedback with my students.
Great.
I'm dying to come have conversations with students about the feedback. All right, I got sidetracked. Sorry, everybody, I got excited. All right, last one, we said, what's one goal for within a week? What's one goal for within a month? Can you guess what we're gonna say for the third one?
I can.
Oh, guess.
The whole year. What's your goal?
Again, maybe a bit grander than your goal for next week, but the idea is come up with a goal, share it with a colleague, send it to us, add it to our social channel, send a message, however you guys do those things. Obviously, I don't know the right way to say that.
Do the thing.
Do the stuff with the socials. Okay, to wrap this up, we certainly hope that you have learned something from this video and you are eager to start using AI Graded Plus. We do very much value hearing from our partners. You can reach out to us in innumerable ways. Use the chat in your dashboard, shoot our admin channel an email. There are many ways to reach the Solve team, and we do value our partners' feedback. So let us know what you think.
If you love it, we want to know. If you have wish list items, we want to know those too.
Don't hesitate to be in touch. If you have questions, reach out to us for those as well. The key thing really is start using this tool. We're certain it's going to save you time. It's going to make your lives easier. And I'm pretty confident to say it's going to be able to support your students' learning as well. That's all for
I
now.
know, I'm excited for you.
Yes, we're looking forward to hearing from you all. Good. Oh, that's like the 7th time I've said that.
It's
terrible.
fine.
I don't have a solution.
Take it in the end. It's fine.
Stay tuned for the blooper reel. It's hilarious.
Woo.
Okay. And now we're on. So you should introduce yourself.
Wait, how are we doing this?
Just like this.
Hi all, welcome to...
Well, we can hear you, that's for sure.
Am I too loud? Do I sound like you?
Did I actually say you're too loud?
Nope.
Yes, we are not the same height, Jen and I, but we will make this work. Here we go.
I can legit stand like this.
No, don't do that.